Welcome to the Civic Hub. The Civic Hub is a shared community space for grassroots and small nonprofit organizations working to make lives better for everyone in Waterloo Region. Partner organizations come from a range of fields: environmental justice, democratic reform, arts and culture, anti-poverty, anti-racism, human rights, ethno-cultural and newcomer support, technology, peace and nonviolence, spirituality, and well-being. On the show, we welcome one of our partners to the Civic Hub. Today, on Welcome to the Civic Hub, we have Acer Bonaparte from ACORN Waterloo. Acer, welcome to the Civic Hub.
Thank you.
So tell me, start off by telling me what ACORN is.
Yeah, ACORN is a community and tenants union. We're comprised of low to moderate income people who come together to fight for all things relating to social justice. We're formed like a union in that we take monthly dues, so we don't have to worry about donations from corporations or government to stay independent. And our membership drives us. We vote on everything. Everybody has a say, and everybody chooses the direction we're going to go.
This isn't just for renters and people looking to improve their housing situation then?
In Waterloo Region, specifically, we've kind of been like mostly tackling that because that is very prevalent. But across Canada, we do tackle everything from grocery prices to payday loans to things as small as trying to get a dog park.
Ah, okay. You said in Waterloo Region, so this implies that ACORN is bigger than just Waterloo Region.
Oh yeah, we're a national organization. I forget how many specific chapters we have, but I know that we have over 10,000 members.
Okay. Does that mean that you have to comply with the national rules for ACORN? Or can you pretty much do what you want in Waterloo Region?
Yeah, so there are national campaign demands and stuff like that, but we have free reign in Waterloo Region to kind of tackle what needs to be tackled in Waterloo Region.
Yeah, that's been largely rental issues.
Yeah, largely rental issues.
Can you give me any specifics?
Pardon?
Any specifics on what you've done in Waterloo Region?
Yeah, so we've helped organize a few buildings now. Trainer Street, Rainbow Row. We're also 250 Frederick Street. We've delegated at council on behalf of the rental replacement bylaw. We have a meeting coming up with Debbie Chapman to hopefully see how we can implement a renoviction bylaw much like Hamilton's.
Okay, what's a renoviction bylaw?
A renoviction bylaw essentially would stop the practice of landlords claiming that massive renovations need to be done, so people need to vacate the unit by issuing I believe it's an N13 notice. Mm-hmm. The way Hamilton's bylaw tackles that is it requires landlords to get a license from the city within, I believe, 30 days from issuing the N13 notice, and the license would prove that the landlord needs to do these massive renovations. And if they don't comply with that, then they would get a sizable fee, as well as the landlord would need to provide interim housing for the tenant, and the right to return would be enforced.
Right to return is already part of the existing law, isn't it?
It is a part of the existing law, but a problem with that, and a problem with a lot of this, is enforcement around it is pretty lacking, and landlords don't actually get punished much when they don't comply.
Mm. And does right to return mean that it's a right to return at the same level of rent that the tenant had originally? Yeah. Okay, well, that's good, because generally when these renovations happen, the prices increase tremendously, 2- or 3-fold sometimes.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah. What is the biggest thing that's happening here in Waterloo Region? What is it that Waterloo Region ACORN is concentrating on the most?
Yeah, when we formally formed the chapter, we voted on what our campaign demands will be, and we have two. One is a renoviction bylaw, and the other is landlord licensing. Landlord licensing is essentially like restaurant licensing, so landlords would have to apply for a license, agree to regular inspections from property standards.
Well, that'd be good.
Yeah.
There are a lot of places that have landlords, but the landlords aren't maintaining the property, and so you get places getting run down. And sometimes the landlords, I hear, do that deliberately in order to be able to invoke that renoviction.
Yeah, a big thing is definitely landlords purposefully pressuring people through pestering them, through not maintaining the property, through threatening them. It's, yeah, they have a lot of dirty tricks.
Yeah. So does that make ACORN an anti-landlord organization? Are you against landlords?
I wouldn't say we're against landlords per se. We're against big corporate landlords coming in and making housing unaffordable and the rampant financialization of housing. Like a mom and pop landlord, for instance, like somebody who's renting out an extra room in their house to supplement their income or their disability or their retirement. That's not the problem. The problem is these rich corporations, letter companies rather, coming in and just destroying what little housing supply we have.
Right. What about individuals who acquire a second property as rental income? Are those people that need to be brought under the realm of ACORN?
No, as long as they are responsible and they take care of their property and they obviously comply with law and treat their tenants well,
So
it's fine.
Even though these landlords see rental housing as a revenue source, a source for their own income, that's not the problem then.
No, I think the problem is the lack of legislation to protect tenants, rather. But even those landlords need to be held accountable for their bad actions and make sure that they're not unfairly taking advantage of people.
Yeah. And you fixed all the problems with rental in Waterloo region. You see Waterloo region ACORN expanding into some of the other areas?
Yeah, definitely. Even locally, even though we're like mainly tackling tenant issues, we still take part in Ontario ACORN and Canada ACORN's efforts. Like recently, we had an action where it was a national action where we were protesting the monopoly in grocery stores and the runaway prices there, and we also, I forget what the provincial action is right now.
Well, we can look that up and put that on the show notes.
Yeah.
How'd you get involved? What made you a member and a spokesperson for ACORN Waterloo?
Yeah, so a brief background. I grew up in a co-op, and I didn't realize for years that cooperative housing wasn't how everything was run. So it was a shock to me when I found out how messy most people's lives are with the financial system. But how I specifically got involved with ACORN was I was at Red Dress Day in Willow River Park, and two of our founders, Sam Nabby and Brooklyn Wallace, were there, and I was talking with them, and they mentioned that a tenant union was forming, and I don't know, I just thought it was an amazing idea, and I kind of just jumped right in.
Yeah. Unions are having a resurgence, I think,
Definitely.
globally, and that's a good thing.
It's a great thing.
Yeah. So how do people get involved? How does somebody make use of ACORN Waterloo?
Yeah, so you can email us at kw@acorncanada.org, but also we have monthly meetings actually at the Civic Hub on the first Tuesday of every month. Anybody can come. It's open to people who aren't members and people who just want to come and address their issues. The only real difference between a member and a non-member is members can vote on issues like our campaign demands and stuff like that. But even if you're not a member, we'll listen to you, we'll make space for you, and we'll fight for you.
I can see that the people that are most in need of help from ACORN Waterloo are going to be those of low income, who have low rents, hopefully, and will be able to sustain those low rents. But that might pose a barrier for paying membership fees.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So you said you make use of the Civic Hub for a meeting space. Is that how you got involved in Civic Hub, looking for a place to have a meeting?
Yeah, we were looking around for somewhere that was not only cheap, but had the ability to have, what's it called? Hybrid meetings with Zoom, yeah.
Okay.
And also a place that obviously has Wi-Fi, has enough space for larger meetings, and yeah, that's how we got involved with the Civic Hub. I think it was through Sam. Okay, I was going to say through Meg, but
So Sam Nabby is very much involved in all things social.
yeah, definitely.
So, glad to have him on board with ACORN Waterloo.
Yeah.
And the Civic Hub so provides you with space, Wi-Fi, the ability to do hybrid meetings. What does ACORN Waterloo in turn bring back to the Civic Hub?
We bring, obviously, people in. We bring a greater understanding of the needs in our community. Personally, I've found a few groups through the Civic Hub as a board of like all the partners. I found a few groups that I've gotten involved with through the Civic Hub.
Okay, so you've expanded your own reach into the community.
Yeah.
And how about finding people from the groups? Have they latched on to ACORN as a good thing to have?
Yeah, definitely. We've been meeting with some people from eviction prevention at the SDC. We've been working with Ground Up.
There seems to be a lot of overlap with various community groups already doing some of the work that ACORN is doing.
Yeah, definitely. And that can provide a problem sometimes with us not communicating. So a big thing for me personally, as chair of Waterloo Region ACORN, is trying to reach out to these other groups and trying to, instead of fighting alone, having a joint effort into doing it.
Yeah. So as a partner for the Civic Hub, you'll have access to the mailing list of all the other partners.
Yep.
And that communication
Is so much easier, yeah.
So much easier and broadened out to areas where you might not otherwise find inclusion membership.
Yeah, definitely. I think at the Stop the Sprawl rally last summer, that was like one of my favorite things about ACORN being a part of that was having other community groups like environmental groups and housing groups and student groups and both NDP and Green being there. Just coming together because the oppressors are so together, they're so unified. So our approach to fighting injustice needs to be unified as well.
Yeah. How long has the ACORN organization been around, the national organization?
Oh, wow. I don't know the exact date, but I'm pretty sure it's well over 20 years now.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
I've only heard of ACORN in the last year or so. That,
yeah.
It's become active here in Waterloo Region. And I think they've made a splash in even the mainstream media, because I think that it's been recognized that there's a need for rental unionization and people coming together to fight this rental injustice, really is what it is.
Yeah, definitely. And I love that because a lot of times when people are going through rent eviction, or anything like poverty, they feel so alone. They feel like they have nobody to turn to. So just being here and letting people know that, they're not alone in this fight and they have people in their corner willing to, yell at their landlord with them is really important.
Yeah. So I think that this is the first national organization that's become a partner in Civic Hub. Does that pose any problems? Are there any other chapters that make use of similar services, partner up with organizations in their own areas?
Not that I'm aware of, but I'm sure that other chapters try to make use of every resource they can.
Maybe there's an opportunity here for ACORN Waterloo to expand the idea of civic hubs in other civic areas.
True, yeah. That's a good idea.
Push it out and let the world know that civic hubs help all sorts of community organizations.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful space. I didn't know about the Civic Hub before ACORN, but I've been going there quite frequently now for a lot of other meetings.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just a great idea because renting a space costs so much money. I know you guys offer printing too. That costs a lot of money. It's insane how much money it costs to organize.
Exactly. There's a lot of groups that just can't afford to do the organization because they don't have the facilities to do it.
Exactly.
So I think ACORN might be in a slightly better space for that, being a national organization. Do you get financial support from the national organization, or is it all strictly from the local membership?
Yeah, we do get financial support, especially in the beginning before we had a membership base from the national organization. And I think that's one of the good parts of working with a national organization is that while we're able to fight on a grassroots ground level, we have the backing and support of such a large organization, as well as the name recognition and sort of the legitimacy. Because if we would have just started a tenant union ourselves with nothing behind us, I don't think we would have been seen as so legitimate and made such a big splash in the mainstream media.
I suspect that the landlords already know of ACORN, the national organization, as well, and so are, not exactly cowing in their boots, but they'll certainly recognize that you've got some legitimate clout behind you.
Yep.
Yeah. What sort of resistance have you had from the landlords to oppose the actions that you're doing?
Yeah, so that's funny. We had a renoviction report launch just earlier this month, and we did it in the lobby of 250 Frederick, which, according to the RTA, is completely legal because tenants have the right to use their whole space and also to participate in a tenant association. But anyway, the landlord had the superintendent there and another person from his company there who tried to block us from entering, even called the police on us. And when the police got there, we had a copy of the specific law that allowed us to be there. But yeah, yelled at us a little bit. So yeah, that was probably the worst resistance we've had from not the landlord itself, but the landlord's company.
Right. And you've gone out and done other actions. Have you had access to those units, or have you had to do the protesting outside?
That was the first time we've done it inside, but we have done door knocking and stuff in buildings to try to spread the word, and that's went well.
Okay, so door knocking is just going around the neighborhood and essentially knocking on doors, talking to tenants.
Yeah, asking, if they have any issues, letting them know what ACORN is.
Yeah. What about homeowners? Do you have homeowners joining ACORN?
Yeah, actually, we do have a few homeowners many homeowners in ACORN. A lot of people, I like to say that renovation and tenant issues have gotten so bad that everybody either has experienced it or knows somebody they care about that has. So, yeah, homeowners join because they realize that they're in a position of privilege. They're in a position that not many people, sometimes their kids, might ever be able to afford. So change needs to happen.
Right. So what do they get out of ACORN?
I think they get a sense of, one, belonging, but also a sense of making change, which is an amazing thing to feel.
Yeah, I suppose that one of the ways of making change is to support ACORN financially.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so there's a means of providing donations.
Yep, it's on our website, acorncanada.org.
Right. You said you had regular meetings?
Yep, the first Tuesday of every month at 6:30, I believe, and at the Civic Hub.
Okay, and that's done through Zoom?
It's in person and on Zoom.
In person and on Zoom. So we'll put that information about upcoming meetings in our show notes, which you can see at civichubwr.org. And then everybody will know.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
And if you want if people want the RSVP link, once again, just email us at kw@acorncanada.org.
And that's to get the Zoom link to participate remotely.
Yep.
Yeah. How's the split been between that? Have you had more members in person or had more members on Zoom?
It's actually pretty even usually. I'd say usually around 15, 20 people show up, and it's pretty split between Zoom and in person.
Okay. Does it provide any barriers to people participating on Zoom, like missing out the handouts?
We actually usually provide show the handouts on the sharing screen, and if people ask, we'll email them the handouts.
Okay, so no barriers to participating online, just as easy to do that as to come in person.
Yep.
Okay, and when is that meeting again? That's on
April 2nd.
April the 2nd is the next meeting at the Civic Hub, 23 Water Street North.
Yep.
Come in through the entrance on Duke Street, and then down the stairs, and that's where the meetings will be.
Yep.
Yeah. Acer Bonaparte, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
And talking to us, and welcome to the Civic Hub. You've been listening to Welcome to the Civic Hub, where we welcome community partners to the Civic Hub. The Civic Hub is online at civichubwr.org. You can reach the Civic Hub by email at civichub@waterlooregion.org. Welcome to the Civic Hub is produced at the studio of CKMS-FM 102.7 Radio Waterloo. The show is sponsored by the Social Development Center of Waterloo Region. The executive producer is Alexander Petrovich. Ritika Sharmali is the producer and host, and I'm Bob Jonkman. Civic Hub is supported by the Region of Waterloo Upstream Fund. The theme music is A Good Bass by Kumiko from the Free Music Archive and used under Creative Commons CC0 license.